The diner sat just outside Military Base 17 in the small town of Walker Creek, where autumn afternoons always seemed dusted with white mist, like a thin layer of ash falling from the sky. At table 4, a few white soldiers sat around a half-eaten plate of ribs and unopened bottles of cold beer. The yellow light fell across their faces, revealing scattered scars and the hardened eyes of men used to controlling everything around them, including people. A black waitress approached, silent as the night. She was tall, lean, but agile. The light caught the edge of her short-sleeved shirt, revealing a faded tattoo on her left arm, something like a flame with a small string of numbers beneath it. One of the soldiers sneered. "Hey, check out that tattoo," he said, voice dripping with mockery. "What is she, a runaway inmate?" The second one elbowed his friend, smirking. "Look at those scars, like knife wounds." Typical black trash. The woman didn't respond. She placed a glass of water on the table and turned to leave.
Wait a second. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us.
Her gaze drifted elsewhere, as if she hadn't heard a thing, but her spine stayed straight, like there was a steel rod running through her back, unbending under filth. From a nearby table, a voice rose, deep, clear, and heavy with authority. "Shut your mouth, boy." All three turned their heads. An old white man with silver hair, wrapped in a worn gray-blue coat with polished brass buttons, was rising to his feet. He hunched slightly, but his eyes were sharp blades cutting through the haze of smoke and stale beer. It was retired Lieutenant Colonel Harold Mackenzie, a living legend in military circles, once leading multiple emergency operations, respected for his command and his razor-sharp memory, even in his 70s. He walked toward the trio of soldiers, pointing at the tattoo on the woman's arm. "That's the insignia of the Rapid Response Unit, Burn Zone Campaign, 2016. The numbers are her medevac unit code. If any of you had a single working dine cell, you'd be thanking her instead of spewing that trash." The first soldier squinted. "Say what now?" Harold's voice cut sharper. She was second in command during one of the fiercest wildfire rescues in the Southwest. While you lot were still pissing yourselves in barracks, she was running through flames, dragging people out of rubble. Silence fell. The scorched smell of overcooked meat seemed to thicken with the shame seeping from table. The woman turned back. Her eyes met Harold's, deep and still, like an old well no one escapes without remembering. Harold nodded gently. "Alexa, right? I remember you. I commanded the Southern Support Battalion. You pulled a medic out of a collapsed aid post. My nephew." Alexa's lips curved, not into a smile but something that had tried to be one. "That was me." That night, Harold stayed until the place was nearly closed. He sat across from Alexa. They drank hot mint tea. The steam curled in the cold air like something ancient and quiet. "You know," he said, "after tonight, I'll be making a call. The National Response Force is short on real combat hands. Not paper heroes. People like you." Alexa looked up. Her eyes didn't tear, but something had been touched, like a blade nicking a heart long calloused. "I figured I was scrubbed from every list," she said softly. "No one wants someone with my skin color anyway." "No," Harold replied. "Don't say that. You can ignore this and stay here. But if you're interested in that job, I'll write the letter. The rest is up to you." Alexa didn't answer right away, but her hand gripped the mug handle like someone holding on to the last thing keeping them upright in the wreckage. 2 weeks later, at the front gate of the National Disaster Coordination and Training Center, Alexa Samuels, her hair neatly braided, her uniform still fresh with the scent of clean cotton, stepped through the Dion gates. On her back, she still carried the same old backpack, a part of her past she wasn't ready to erase. This, she told herself, could be a new beginning. But what she didn't know was that behind those cold walls, the eyes already watching her were sharp and waiting. The headquarters of the National Rapid Response Unit sat deep inside the high-security zone of Greenridge, a sprawling complex dedicated to national-level emergency coordination and training. Gray-painted concrete walls, sliding electronic gates operated by keycards, and rows of cutting-edge equipment made the place feel like a modern fortress in a chaotic world. This was where Alexa Samuels was given her second chance, and she had believed after everything that she was finally being seen. The scanner beeped softly as the door opened, but what greeted her inside wasn't a warm handshake or a congratulatory smile. Instead, it was the kind of glances that drifted past her like she was a dark cloud nobody wanted to see. The first to look her up and down was a blonde white woman at the front desk. Ponytail tied high, name tag reading S. "You need something?" Her tone wasn't hostile, but it wasn't welcoming either. "I'm Alexa Samuels, assigned to Forward Team Bravo." Dorsey raised an eyebrow, then glanced over to a middle-aged white man approaching, tall, buzz-cut, his name stitched into his chest. "M. Hunter, Technical Commander." He gave a brief nod, but instead of a greeting, he spoke like confirming a suspicion. "You the one, Samuels? The one Colonel Mackenzie recommended?" Alexa nodded. "Yes, that's me." Hunter snorted under his breath, his eyes flicking to the tattoo peeking beneath her sleeve. Figured it'd be someone else. The air in the lobby dropped a degree colder. In her early days with the unit, Alexa was assigned to the equipment operations team, a crucial link between field responders and command. But instead of learning systems, she was tasked with cleaning storage rooms, wiping down control panels, scrubbing boots, and brewing coffee for the squad leads. No team emails, no training schedule, no instruction on the new satellite response interface. Something every other rookie was taught in week 1. Heard she must have slept with someone to get in this fast. Classic low-grade black chick move. That black girl didn't even file a proper training report but lands in ops. What a joke. I bet old man Mackenzie's just gone soft. Probably thought she was someone else. The words slithered like toxic smoke through the halls. Every time Alexa passed the canteen, briefing room, or rest lounge, the whispers would hush, but the stares would stay, watching her like a stain on a perfectly polished mirror. That day, she sat alone at the back table of the cafeteria. One hand stirred her coffee, the other flipped through a notebook filled with diagrams of geopositioning devices. A sharp giggle cut the silence behind her. Why bother learning satellite ops? Might as well clean the toilets properly first. The table up front erupted in laughter. Alexa didn't turn. She picked up her tray, walked out as if she had no ears at all. On many late afternoons, when the sun stretched long shadows behind the command center, Alexa could be found alone on the training field. She installed pressure gauges on gas tanks, taught herself how to assemble the rope launcher cannon, and annotated every interface change in the location tracker software. One hand writing, one hand building. No instructors, but she was patient, like someone who'd once learned to read the wind to find where the fire burns. One day, while reloading fire extinguishers in Storage Bay 7, a bulky guy from Ops, Gavin, always in tight gym shirts and always ready with a jab, strolled by. He stopped, arms crossed, sneering. "You think this is firefighter camp or something? This is a tactical response unit, not some rehab center for poor black girls looking for a new life." Alexa didn't respond. She sealed the tank, checked the gauge, and turned away. Gavin stayed, voice tightening. "Listen, people like you clean. That's it. Command, logistics, not in your league." She stopped, but didn't turn around. Her voice was quiet but sharp. "Then I'll clean, thoroughly, because when a real disaster hits, and someone needs a tank refilled the right way, they'll stay alive because of the one I touched." And she walked off, leaving Gavin stiff with silence. But the harassment didn't stop. One day, she received a fake email, disguised as a team meeting notice, with the wrong time and room. She showed up an hour early, sat silently. When the others arrived on time, they already knew. A few exchanged glances, smirked. They were waiting for her to react, to give them a reason to keep pushing. But Alexa said nothing. She took notes. She trained. She performed every menial task with the precision of a machine. At night, she turned off her room lights early and read technical manuals under the beam of a tiny flashlight. Her notebook thickened each day, with diagrams, protocols, and system flows. She didn't need anyone to notice, because through flame, wind, and silence, she had learned one truth. They could mock her tattoos, her scars, her skin, but no one could take what she had survived to learn. On December 18th, the first warning alert was issued from the Bear Jaw Mountain Monitoring System, a treacherous northern range in Colorado. At 4:47 a.m., an avalanche occurred. Over 200,000 tons of snow had slid down, burying 3 geological research camps and a private ski resort. 37 people were reported missing. Weather forecasts predicted a second avalanche within the next 12 hours. Emergency alert. Red level. The National Rapid Response Unit was deployed. The tactical meeting took place at 6 a.m. sharp in the command center. No chairs, everyone had to stand. Outside, the wind howled like wolves, hurling snow against the glass panels like razors. On the main screen was a terrain map of Bear Jaw, the white mass bleeding across it like cold lime dust on a corpse. Snowfall continues. Temperatures are down to -18. GPS signals may be lost due to solar radiation interference. Commander Hunter briefed. We need an advance team to identify survivable zones, reset location beacons, and establish an evacuation corridor. Silence. No one spoke. The veterans exchanged glances. This mission, everyone knew, was a one-way ticket into the belly of snow. Then came a soft click, barely audible, from Gavin, the operations guy known for mocking Alexa. He stepped forward, arms folded, a smirk tugging at his lips. Samuels is new, but she's got wildfire op experience. Guess it's time to prove yourself, huh? A few restrained chuckles echoed. Someone chimed in, half joking, half serious. Yeah, can't let a decorated deputy just sit there and waste resources. Hunter raised an eyebrow. Miss Samuels, are you ready? Alexa rose. Her eyes gleamed with quiet resolve. No anger, no hesitation. I accept the assignment. A heavy pause fell over the room. No one said it aloud, but they all thought it. If something went wrong, she'd be the scapegoat. The perfect black pawn to take the fall. But Alexa didn't accept to prove anything. She remembered the red flames of that fire-ravaged night, the cries beneath the collapsed shelter, and her teammate Rico, the young soldier who died because she had arrived 1 minute too late. She had sworn never to let history repeat itself. The 6-member advance team was formed. Alexa led it. They moved out in tracked terrain vehicles, entering Bear Jaw at 8:02 a.m. Outside temperature, -21. Beyond 4,000 feet, the GPS began flickering. The digital map froze. Radio signals stuttered. Damn it, we've lost signal, one team member muttered. Alexa opened her notebook, quickly redrawing the terrain map from memory. Then assigned, Smith, recheck the transmitter antenna. Dorsey, I need an emergency signal booster. Shift to sub-frequency. We'll rebuild our own tracking net. Don't count on satellites. Gavin sneered. What are you, an expert now? Alexa didn't flinch. She silently set up an old-school optical beacon system, a forgotten technique she'd learned from a retired rescue medic. And it worked. At each checkpoint, she used reflective mirrors to mark a fallback path, in case they got disoriented in the storm. At 10:43 a.m., they reached Research Camp 2. 2 survivors were found, trapped under snow in a tent, oxygen deprived, severely hypothermic. Alexa ordered an emergency thermal shelter set up using ethanol heat packs. There's seismic noise, someone reported. Alexa stood still, feeling the snow beneath her boots. The vibrations were subtle, too faint for seismometers to detect, but just enough to tell her something was coming. A second avalanche is imminent, she called out. Everyone prepare to evacuate in under 2 minutes. Strip the gear fast. Wrap the victims, we're out of time. Gavin laughed. half joking, half dismissive. Relax. Little tremors and you're panicking already. She's always dramatic, trying to show she's better than everyone else. Another chimed in. No one took Alexa's warning seriously. She didn't repeat herself. The priority now was to save lives. They continued to rescue a few more. No signals, no signs of danger. It seemed Alexa had been wrong. The white men showed their disdain openly. They began hanging back, letting Alexa lead the charge into danger. Then came the sound, like fabric tearing from the western ridge. Everything collapsed like dominoes. Snow, rocks, trees, barreling down like a savage white tsunami. A wall 10 meters high rushed toward them. Run! Panic erupted. They grabbed their backpacks. Not standard issue. These were private emergency kits, equipped with advanced gear, ropes, and oxygen. They bolted for the wrong direction, away from Alexa's rock's path, a path they had ignored. Turns out, they had planned to leave her behind all along, but they weren't fast enough. The avalanche swallowed ground faster than anyone could anticipate, trapped between two sliding slopes. They lay in a rocky crevice, some injured, some gasping, suffocating from panic and lack of air. And just when they thought it was over, a flashlight beam hit their faces. Stay low. Follow the guideline. Alexa's voice cut through the white chaos. Sharp, calm, commanding. Some thought it was a hallucination. They couldn't believe she had survived, the one they'd abandoned. She emerged from the left ridge, the path she had chosen for solo surveying. As predicted, the snow hadn't touched that side. She had dodged the second collapse. Alexa calmly pulled each of them out from the crevice, a stark contrast to their broken, frantic state. She used her backup signal emitter to guide the group out. On her shoulder, an injured soldier. In her hand, the homemade beacon is still pulsing. And behind her, 17 survivors she had pulled from beneath the snow. The team returned at 3 a.m., beneath a light snowstorm and the low rumble of helicopters overhead. On the temporary airstrip, floodlights scanned across the frost-coated armor, casting white halos like the souls of the dead coming home. Those who stepped off the military truck exhaled in relief. They had survived. No casualties. No one missing. 17 civilians rescued. 8 response unit members. Only minor injuries. Alexa was the last to get off. She didn't show fatigue, though her eyes were bloodshot and her lips cracked. In the dim light, someone finally noticed. The mission commander was a black woman, back straight like a drawn bow, her steps steady and unshaken. The next morning, national headlines blazed. Black woman commander brings entire team back from the brink of death. Once doubted, now the one who saved over 25. Photos of Alexa standing in the snow, holding her navigation device, spread everywhere. But beneath the articles, shadowy comments crept in. Probably just lucky. Anyone else could have done it. Maybe another team helped. Don't overhype it. One avalanche rescue and now she's some kind of global hero. Alexa didn't read them. She knew that, like snow, people's hearts can seem pure, but if they collapse, they can kill. The debrief took place 3 days later in the main hall. Flags lined the walls. A red banner hung above the stage, honoring those who keep others alive. Alexa sat in the back row, still in her old uniform. Her teammates had suited up, hair slicked, boots polished, chins lifted like they had never trembled in the snow. At the podium, Commander Hunter spoke. We acknowledge the effective leadership of the advance commander during the Bearjaw mission. The team returned safely. All victims were rescued. 0 losses. Scattered applause. A few glanced toward Alexa, only through the corners of their eyes. Hunter gave a slight nod. If there are no objections, we'll officially mark the operation as successful and proceed to the next agenda item. Just then, a voice rang out from the doorway. Hold on. Heads turned. An old man with silver hair stepped inside. In a gray-blue coat, polished old boots, and sharp eyes that swept the stage before settling on Alexa. Lieutenant Colonel Harold Mackenzie. The room went still, as if someone had opened a door to the past and let an old wind in. "I didn't come here to speak," he said, voice shaking as he pulled the mic toward him. "I came to do something I should have done long ago." He pointed at Alexa, voice cracking. 5 years ago, I was commanding the Southern Support Battalion during Operation Wildfire. Our medical tent collapsed after a gas explosion. The person who pulled my nephew, Army medic Dr. Josh McKenzie, from the rubble, with flames licking at the tent flaps, was her, Alexa Samuels. He paused. A few murmurs spread. Someone had just connected the name with a brief headline from years back. She even went back a second time to rescue 2 trapped techs. Her oxygen tank had under 5 minutes left. And she didn't hesitate. After the entire team was evacuated, I personally nominated Alexa for the Medal of Honor. He pulled out a worn paper from his coat. But my superior at the time, Lieutenant Colonel Cormack, buried the recommendation. Reason, not the right image. They honored him instead. She was erased from the commendation list. The room was deathly silent. The AC's hum now felt like the background to a belated indictment. Harold looked at Alexa, eyes brimming. "I stayed silent all these years. I thought giving her a better job would be enough. I was wrong, and today, I want to say sorry, in front of everyone." He turned to the room. "If someone who once saved your lives is still forced to live in silence and disgrace, then who among you truly deserves to stand here?" No one answered. Then, unexpectedly, Gavin, the same man who once led the mockery, stood. He walked slowly toward Alexa, then bowed deeply. I'm sorry, I was wrong." The hall seemed to freeze. Then came the second, Dorsey. Then the third, Smith. One by one they stepped forward and bowed. No flowery speeches, just plain, honest apologies. Finally, Gavin turned to the stage, facing Hunter. "I resign as operations team leader. I'm no longer fit to command anyone." Alexa stayed seated. No tears, no sign of triumph. She simply nodded, like someone who had just finished a necessary task. Nothing more, nothing less. Hunter stepped back to the mic. "With full team consensus, and based on her performance in Bearjaw, I officially appoint Alexa Samuels as forward commander, Level 1, National Rapid Response Unit." This time, the applause was real, not scattered, and in the bowed heads and lifted chins around her, Alexa saw the one thing she had waited for: respect. She rose, walked to the microphone, eyes sweeping the room. "I have nothing left to prove," she said calmly. "I didn't take this role to stroke my ego. I didn't come here for revenge or glory." Then she looked straight at the ones who had stood beside her in the snow. "I only need to look into the eyes of those whose lives I helped save, and know that I did the right thing." Behind her, a maintenance worker was mounting a new plaque to the wall. Muted gray metal, etched in sharp lettering. "Not everyone who survives gets thanked, but those who deserve it will one day be heard." Light from the window caught the corner of the plaque, where her name was engraved. Alexa Samuels, small, clear, and forever. There are people who spend their whole lives trying to prove they are worthy while the world keeps trying to shut them out. Alexa Samuels never begged for trust, nor did she plead for recognition. She simply kept walking in silence and patience through mockery, disdainful stares, and even betrayal. But truth, like fire and snow, always leaves a trace. Even when buried, it will resurface. Not everyone who survives gets thanked, but those who truly deserve it. One day justice will speak for them. Don't judge someone by skin color, gender, or origin, because sometimes the one you think is beneath you is the last one still standing when everything else has fallen.